the booths with the biggest booths are spending the most money.
Right.
So they're probably ones to go after, especially if you're looking for sponsorships. A nice little cheat, and I used that recently. So
Yeah, usually they're paying the most, yeah.
yeah.
So Brex, who was a big booth at that event that we were talking about, they were there, and we said, hey, we want to do, they said, well, we already closed out our sponsorship for the year, but 2020 we could talk about. And they said, well, we're doing a pitch competition for startups, which we did last month, and we had over 200 people, and we had 120 companies submit. And they would say, you know what, we'll pay for the cash prize for the winner. So it's about creating the right opportunity. So Brex loved the idea. They were the featured sponsor. The startups whoever won got money. We had a strategic partner, and in return, we help promote them get signups through their credit card.
Right.
At the end of the day, people want sales, ROI. So if you can show that, great. Our next partner is Drum, which is it's also owned by Cabbage. Are you familiar with Cabbage? Which is a lending. They're a huge company that does lending to small businesses, but it's all online. You don't have to talk to anybody. You just plug everything in, and in seconds they'll tell you what kind of credit line, what kind of interest rate for your small business you can get. So they set up Drum. Drum is a platform like influencers for businesses. So if you have a promotion at your company, somebody can get paid for sending you business, right?
Gotcha.
So they created that platform.
Yes.
So we have a holiday party end of this year, this month on the 19th, if anyone's going to be around, and they're going to sponsor the event, and they want in return downloads. So they're going to have a booth with swag. You go over, you want swag, you got to download the app. So ROI, it's all about creating a win-win per se, in every opportunity.
Yeah. Network. We're at a networking event. I like to ask, best ways that you have built out your network, but some tips or whatever it may be regarding network.
For the Entre or at an event?
Let's do both.
Both, okay. So at an event, I try to, my goal is not to sell anything. I don't have anything to sell. I don't even know who you are if I'm talking to you for the first time. It's just to learn who you are and what you do. And my mind works like a computer, so it stores that. And then as I'm talking to different people, then I'm like, well, you should talk to that person because they do that.
Yeah.
And I'm just connecting. And if I find like one person that I'm like, oh, this is like extreme value, that I think it's worth getting together, then I'm like, hey, let's get coffee or lunch or whatever afterwards. And then we can continue the conversation. But a lot of times we're just meeting people, and sometimes people's expectations are so high of meeting somebody, like, oh, I'm going to this event, I got to meet the next, investor for my company. Like, that's unrealistic. It's not going to happen. Like, it might happen, but the probability is against you unless you're going to an investor meeting that there's 100 investors and your idea is so phenomenal that they're just like fighting to get to you, and then.
No, but I'll add to that. I think I've heard that before, and I think it's super helpful if you understand the other person that's there, what they do, and as you learn about what they do and you make your rounds, it's best practice I've found to say, oh, you need to go talk to Jimmy because he's the best person for you. That also frees you up to talk to the next person.
Yeah.
And if you have a full room of people doing that, then it just adds and adds and adds, and then we're all kind of working together. So that's a good tip. To add on to that too, a practical tip, I like having a small glass of water, not full, and if you need to escape, and you guys shouldn't do that too, because everybody's here, I need to get another glass of water. Do you want something?
I never did that.
So it's a stick and move.
That's happened to me though. People have done that
I do it
to
to
me.
you all the time.
That's amazing.
I do it to you all the time.
No, I don't know if you've probably done it once or twice, but other people have done that. I'm like,
Well, no,
why are they so thirsty?
It's good.
Why are they so thirsty? But yeah, so and then the other aspect is people say, can you do investor speed dating like events?
Yeah.
And I'm like, so you're going to pitch your idea in 30 seconds and then they're going to love it and give you $500,000. I don't know if that works, you know what I mean? At least to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's all about organic connections. Like our last event, one of the volunteers is a Python coder, and another gentleman came up to me and said, I have this amazing idea, I'm patenting it, I need a developer. So I don't know why my brain, the way it works, connects it. I said, you need to talk to Emmanuel. So later on, I connected Emmanuel with him. And I said, guys, all I want to know is if you guys could work together, just keep me up to date. I just want to hear the progress of your project. And I have tons of these. Like, people will email me 3 months in, 6 months, like, hey, we're doing this. And that's organic because now I know what they've been doing. And that works for me on the connection side.
Right. Celebrate wins.
Celebrate wins, even with small milestones along the way.
Absolutely.
And for Entre, like I said earlier, we're just here to connect entrepreneurs and to give you a support system. Like, I wouldn't say therapy, but like, you're gonna mess up. You're gonna have issues. People are gonna, tell you it's a bad idea, and it might be a bad idea. But because we're optimistic entrepreneurs, we will fight through and try to figure it out. And that's why they coined pivot, because the pivot is when we realize we messed up, right? And we know it's not going to work, and we're like, okay, it's not going to work. We got to move to this. But the network is so powerful. And when I was out of college, and I would go to a barbecue, and I would tell people, oh, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I found it. Like, I don't remember where, but it was serial entrepreneur, and I don't know, maybe not a lot of people used it, and I thought it was cool using it. But people were like, oh, you don't have a job? And I'm like, no, I'm starting my own business. You couldn't get a job. And I'm like, no, I think I could get a job. I didn't even try, but I was like, maybe I could get a job. And they're like, yeah, you can't get a job. So you got to work for yourself. But it wasn't that. I just wanted to be by myself and create these things. And sometimes we get too stuck. And I've had issues where I started a business and I was so close. And a year later, I'm like, oh my God, I just literally used up all my savings. I have nothing left. And this is not good, so I would have to go back out and figure out how to make money, and that's just a learning process.
Yeah. To add to the networking aspect of it, I told everyone I got a LinkedIn live show, right? And the power of LinkedIn, especially right now, is so incredible. Again, why I kind of urge you guys to connect with me on LinkedIn. But I went to South by Southwest a couple years ago. Cool kids called South by. And I brought a stack of business cards, like, I'm a real estate guy, this is before I'm doing all this content. I was doing the podcast, but everyone kind of looked at me like I ate heads, and they're like, just LinkedIn me. Like, what's your name? And it's right there. People are just doing it on their phone. And I'm like, that's genius. So I would encourage everybody, as you're talking to me, just whip out your phone. Like, it may seem weird, but it's really not weird, unless you make it weird. But it's super powerful. And also, the social media aspect of it, I think it's if you want to connect with someone on LinkedIn that you don't know, we asked this to the CEO of Hive when we had him on the show last time. And everybody also says this: if you don't know it, it's a cold email or cold LinkedIn connection, add a note. You have 138 characters or something like that. I've refined my message in that so tight. You take away, with W/, even like that tight, make it condensed. I appreciate your time, and maybe a link to your website. For context, here's my website. So then if they connect with you, they understand they read their message, and you don't have to go into long-winded exactly who you are again. With that being said, maybe someone's not as active on LinkedIn. Figure out where they're most active. It could be Instagram, it could be Twitter, and slide in on their DM. Again, sounds weird. Kids are doing it, right?
That's how we made David Meltzer.
Right, David Meltzer, serial entrepreneur. I mean, these people are on there all the time, and even if it's a big person, maybe someone else is handling their account, but you need to figure out where they're the most active and try to go that avenue. Maybe it's email, maybe it's phone call late at night and the secretary's not there, but try to pinpoint your absolute direct, person you want to get in contact and go through those step-by-step process. But I would start with LinkedIn, and everybody connect with each other, try to add value first. But that's my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes people will message me on LinkedIn and say, it's like the same message. It's like, hi, I came across your profile. Anybody know this? I came across your profile, and I think you'd be great for my network, right? And would you like to connect, right? That's a short message. So I reply, I don't connect, but I say, why, right? No one ever replies back. They never say because, I can't, I like this. I'm like, this is so generic. Like, don't be generic. Just write something, even if it's a crazy thing, like, hey, I love that you were on TV and you did this thing, and like, I'd love to connect with you and just say hello, and if you're ever in New York, let's meet, right? you'll be surprised who will connect with you.
And
people are people, they're human.
The power of creating content, you know, I got a live show, but it's evolved. I mean, either starting a podcast, if you can't talk, if you can't be on video, maybe you could write. Those are the three aspects, right? Video, audio, and creating writing. Right. And those could be interviews or whatever it may be, but posting them on social media, especially LinkedIn, the network effect of LinkedIn, just so you have a little insight, because I keep meeting with the team every other month or so, which is pretty cool. But so you know LinkedIn works. If you like my post, it gets refiltered into your network. Now everybody in your network is seeing it. And you want to create content. My strategy is I want to create content for Jimmy. I want to make that post the most shareable post for Jimmy and hype him up as much as so happy and excited to, or like awesome time speaking with Jimmy, and tag that person, tag their companies, and then that gets refiltered if they reshare it. So you want reshares, you want likes, and you want comments, because then it's going to get distributed. So create that content, create that post so that it is reshared, and you're basically promoting. And it's also a platform to promote yourself. Again, to reinstate what you do. Like I do a commercial lease. I helped Ernst & Young move into a space at 841 Broadway. It was in one of the Commercial Observer papers for real estate. Yeah, like it's weird promoting yourself, but it's like not if you create it for one of the people you worked with. Like so excited to be working with Damian Chopak, head of real estate. Thanks for the opportunity, and then put the link there. Use hashtags, and then it's just like, why would he not like that? Why would he not reshare it? Because I'm saying he's great. I'm saying you're great. I'm saying you're great. Why would he not?
Why would they?
And then I get now I'm stealing all your views. Like I'm getting in, and then you're building a network. And then if people are commenting, link up with them. The strategy too with LinkedIn, you're saying why. There's two different strategies.
Just the fake connections.
Yeah.
Everyone
well,
else,
I think there's two strategies too, because if you're creating content, you may want to build up that network, because again, you're getting more eyeballs on whatever you're doing, and you're telling people what your business is or what you're trying, opportunities you're looking for. So if you want to use LinkedIn as a super tight network, I think it's past that stage, and I think it's more almost accepting everybody's, because why not? Because then you start playing that game when you linked in with me. Oh, we have this person in common. That's interesting. And then that just starts, everything starts kind of connecting. And maybe we have nobody in common and we'll never do a deal together, but you have that person, you know what they're doing, you know their business, and then it's kind of playing that game like we talked about here. How can I add value? You should be talking to this person. Maybe you should look at this person's podcast. That person makes the most sense. And it's kind of like playing the pieces together. And if you add enough value, maybe you could do a business with them.
And 15 years ago, didn't exist. How would you build up your network? You would have to call, meet, and like literally put it together yourself.
Right.
It's there for you. You just got to tap into it and use it.
Questions for Jimmy? We'll do a few questions, yeah.
Well, you know, it's funny you say about, you ask why. I do both strategies. If I see we have a lot of mutual, I just shot in the dark, you know, because I also feel like it's so fake. You know, it's ethically correct. You know, it's politically correct, but like I feel it's so fake. So you know, do you ever shot in the dark it? Like, you know, oh, we have a lot of mutual, so I'm not going to send a message, or should I stop that strategy? Because you know, I do both. Like if it's somebody that I'm really interested in meeting, I will give, you know, looks like we should connect, you know.
Mm-hmm. Well, what I do is like if I read a book or an article and something will stick out, I'll message them and ask them, hey, I read your article in Entrepreneur Magazine. I was wondering, why did this happen? I'd love to talk to you if you have 5 minutes. I'd love to hear your side of what happened or why you did this. And a couple times they got back to me, and we did a call, and I got to speak with like successful entrepreneurs or CEOs, and they're just like 5 minutes. Okay, I can make 5 minutes for this guy, right. You know, because
respecting their time.
Respecting their time. I don't want. Once you talk to them 5 minutes, it becomes half an hour. But they don't need to know that right away. You know, you just work it in later, and it works. And then we become connected, and we have an organic conversation. LinkedIn, like I said, I love LinkedIn because you can connect with so many different people, and it's right there. It's just you got to get their attention, and so many people are getting everyone's attention. It's so like. You know what I mean? It's like
what not to do. I like to say is spam people.
Yeah.
You see a lot, most of my company does this, and I like to take pride that I think I understand LinkedIn better than most, let's say. If you just put the link to, maybe it's an article about you, maybe it's an article of interest, but like, why did you post that link? Give a little insight of your thinking, and then tag that person in the link, especially maybe if you want to meet with them. Like, congratulations at Jimmy. Saw you just raised a huge fund from at that venture capital fund. Super excited to see where it goes, you know, and then the link or something like that. But there's no reason for you to just put a link to a website. Or for Cushman and Wakefield, we have come out with market reports. A lot of people in my company add an attachment of the market report. Okay, I always say it's like my dad. He sends these emails, these political emails. Like, I don't want to read. Like, what? What are you? You're just spamming my feed now. Tell me why I should read this or what it should be. Why? Like, earn my like, earn my share, earn my comment. And as you continue to build a strong community like we have here at Entre, comment and support the people around you who are adding value. You know, I'm not gonna like your post if you just put a link. Even though I like you so much, I'm gonna
do that tomorrow.
I'm gonna prove a point. That's not doing anything for anybody. That's not helping anybody.
Well, if you're posting it, you want to start a conversation. What's the conversation? What are we having? This happened. Okay, well, what is it? Start the conversation. I think this, and then Charlie and everyone will jump in and we'll have a conversation, right? It's like me giving you a newspaper article and walking away. Right. Just give it to you and walk away, and then you're like, what am I doing with this?
And another thing that's interesting that LinkedIn's doing right now is you could see how many, the hashtags, there's a thing on the left, and you could see how many followers that hashtag has. Yeah. On any other platform, you can't see that. So if I've put together a Microsoft Word personally for what I'm trying to create and the content I'm trying, or whatever post I'm trying, and there's 8 million followers on, not entrepreneurship, but venture capital.
Venture capital.
You know, like, figure out where you are trying to target and then have that conversation, start that conversation. Now you're bringing more people in, and then hopefully they comment and you're stealing their views, their network, and continue to build it.
And also use the other way, the niche side, right? So if you're looking at FinTech Summit, and you're trying to target the people from FinTech Summit, and there's a hashtag for them, you hashtag them.
Hashtag join Entre.
Hashtag join
Another tip that I do, if I know I'm going to a speaker series and I'm not hosting it, I'm in the crowd, and I really want to connect with that person, I'm creating content for them. I'm in the back. I take a picture of them. I try to create the best picture, usually when they're talking and looking like a very powerful person. And then I find they're at Charlie NYC. I figure out where the location is. I try to tag as many things that make the most sense that hopefully will reshare or like my post, because I'm creating that content for them. I'm not trying to be selfish and create it for me. I'm going, and then that maybe opens up a conversation because they start following you, they start understanding who you are, or it's like, hey, I now have a warm introduction on Twitter, DM, or wherever I posted it to say, thing that stuck out to me, I really appreciate is XYZ. Hope we can connect in the near future. You said, too, you look at articles. I've done that with Nick Woodhouse, the president of Authentic Brands Group. They own Nautica, Juicy Couture, they manage Shaq, Michael Jackson's apparel group. I saw him on HBO, and I'm like, hey man, really cool HBO series. You're doing great, keep it up. I thought this was really interesting. I slow played it, almost like a dating game. You hear this all the time. You slow play it, wait a couple months, and then I saw him in the paper again, or in the news again. It's great, see what you're doing. Hey, would you want to come on my podcast? And I knew that he didn't really get back to me on that, but I said, I have a partnership with the School of Visual Arts and some students, interns, who are looking to create a series or a pilot series. Would you be interested in helping out with that? Now I'm leveraging the School of Visual Arts. It's an Authentic Brands Group. It's a fashion company. They wanted to be partners with them to try to get more interns from them. So I was trying to add value, not only by creating content, but opening up a partnership with School of Visual Arts, and then just promoting it. Like, that's why the content, I think, for me, is personally huge. And you could do this too by saying, hey, I have a blog or whatever it may be, and here's my standard questions. You mind sitting down with me and answering these questions? I'll bring a tape recorder, whatever it is. So that strategy is good. Do we have any other questions?
Yeah, I've got 2 questions.
Yep.
Thank you very much for the interview, quite enlightening. And twofold. The first is you speak about you built sort of a solution that integrated marketing solutions, I just wanted to speak a little bit more about this, the challenge that you faced in building those companies. And then,
okay.
if you don't mind, the second part is talk about brand, like building the brand when you don't have that sort of a capability or that presence.
So the first part is integrated
Like
with the partnerships.
Yeah, build the partnerships. Yeah.
The partnerships. So at the beginning, it's like you're just throwing, like you're just throwing things out and trying to hit anything. But you kind of have to, once you start seeing what you're hitting and what you're not, you start narrowing it down and saying, who would like to partner with me and how do I add value to them? So the first scenario is not money. It's what are you doing? I see you're doing this. I'm part of the SVA, the School of Visual Arts or whatnot, and I can put this together with you. You got to earn their trust. Then once that happens, you have to sit down and listen and ask, what is it that what's your goals? What are you trying to accomplish, right? Like Drum, it was they want downloads and they want people to use their apps. Once we heard that, now we're trying to figure out how to get that from the event that we're having and put it together. We talked about it, it made sense, and now we're going to potentially do it. So it's about identifying their goals and aligning it with your capabilities. If you really can't do it, like there's sponsors and partners that will come in and be like, we'll give you all this, and you really can't execute it, don't do it. Because you're going to burn a bridge that you'll never be able to build again. And it's sometimes better to hold off.
But that comes back too of like this networking event. What do you do, and what are you trying to accomplish, right?
Right.
And you try to keep yours tight and figure out what theirs is, and keep it tight and respect each other's time. And try, again, once you understand that, maybe you know what, not the right person. But I know a guy. Maybe I know somebody. I know, But
yeah, absolutely. And then there's another point I should mention is, if you're doing something and there's another person doing it with that company, that partnership, you might not be able to get that partnership because they're already locked in, but who's their competitor? And you pitch them and say, hey, I'm like this person, they're doing that, it's successful. I think we could be successful because they're already doing it and it works. And sometimes they'll partner with you. Because sometimes they just need a little nudge that their competition is doing something else, and they want to get involved with you. And the second part of your question was brand? So the brand is just you. It's your soul. It's who you are, as your culture, your company. That's your brand. And how you perceive it through content, through Entre shirts, through marketing, through